Good day, friends of Buzzy. This is our two-per day. I'm now doing coronavirus updates for the week of August 12th. I'm Dr. Amy Baxter, and there's some big things this week. So we are finally going to initiate our randomized controlled trial of nasal irrigation in COVID-positive patients who are over age 55. Our goal is to see whether or not nasal irrigation twice a day for 14 days decreases coronavirus admissions, oxygen use, and ICU and death in people in Augusta, Georgia who test positive for coronavirus and then within the day after getting the results start using nasal irrigation. I would like to thank the Bernard Gray for donating to get the study off the ground. Thanks to NeilMed and Navaj for donating the materials that we need for nasal irrigation. And enormous, fantastic thanks to Augusta University, which is my clinical faculty appointment university, but they really rallied behind this idea and got it through the IRB and got it through everything. So this is a huge thing. We're hoping that we will start enrollment the week of the 17th. So if you're in Augusta and you need a coronavirus test and you're over 55 and you're positive, then we're going to limit it to 10 people a day, but there it goes. So here's the idea. You've got your nose. One of the studies that came out today proved conclusively, no surprise, that you do have active viral particles in respiratory microdroplets. So it was actually very elegant, and it did come out in medRxiv, which means that it is not yet peer-reviewed, but you can kind of tell from the people who are involved and the commenting on it that it's going to get into a published peer-reviewed journal. What they did was they got samples of air and added water to them to make them a little heavier so that the virus didn't immediately die off, and then they saw whether it was capable of actually causing infection. So one of the hard things about testing microdroplets is that because the virus is on such a teeny tiny little fragment of water going through the air, that it's almost like a Schrodinger's cat thing, that once you try to see if it's there, it's more of a Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It's Heisenberg, but it's more like once you try to observe it, all of a sudden what you're observing changes. And so that's what happens with viral particles in microdroplets. What this study did was make it kind of like what happens when a viral particle hits your nose. It's in a warm, moist environment, so that's when it can start catching onto the ACE2 receptor, hooking on, getting onto the cell, infusing, and then replicating to the point where it will get your lungs' ACE2 receptors to also activate. So 3 studies that are important to know about. One is that indeed there is no activation of the lung ACE2 receptors initially. You've got to have both the TMPSR gene and the ACE2 gene turned on. So until it's been turned on in the nose for a little while, the lung ones are not turned on. So you're not going to start with it in the lungs until you've gotten your nose activated. Second of all, studies by Monica Gandhi at UCSF found that when people start wearing masks more, the rate of asymptomatic transmission goes up. Now, not necessarily transmission, but the number of cases, the percent who are asymptomatic, goes up. Why does that matter? It matters because we believe now that the viral load, the amount of virus in your nose, is what is correlated with severity of disease. In fact, another study, which I wasn't going to mention, came out that found that the viral load in people who presented to the emergency department was highly correlated with death. So the more virus they had when they presented, the more severe the case. What Monica Gandhi found was if there are more asymptomatic cases with increased mask wearing, what this means is that because you're wearing the mask, you're getting less viral particles. because you have fewer viral particles, you are less likely to get severely sick. You're more likely to just have your immune system take care of it, and off you go. Yeah, you may still be able to transmit it. Yeah, you may have it, but you don't get sick and you don't feel it. So that's a win, and it's definitely correlated with wearing masks. So it's further proof that this is aerosol, and therefore that wearing a mask and covering your nose is something that's helpful. So finally, the last part of the study that was found was that it turns out that, like flu, there actually is a really narrow amount of time that people are contagious and spread it. So what we were sort of thinking was that because so many family contacts have coronavirus, that maybe it was just a little bit of drip over time that you were getting. And it seems like what's most likely is that with the super spreader events, etc., that people are really intensely contagious for a fairly short period of time, but then the variable time it takes for somebody to incubate may be because you have to have that specific amount, it's 10 to the 5th power RNA molecules to get sick. So I think that, again, that kind of goes along with the idea that if it's a smaller number of viral particles, you might have an asymptomatic infection. Or if you have a smaller number of particles, if you're able to flush out and get rid of some of the particles, then you may not get sick at all. There you go. So I will be updating you. Once we start the trial, I'm not going to be able to give any results until after it's over. I can give any hints on anything that's published from any of the other people who are doing nasal irrigation trials, but I can certainly tell you that from what we know now, there is no reason to doubt that cleaning out your nose and getting rid of viral particles is anything but very helpful for mitigating the disease, preventing the disease. I can't wait to share some peer-reviewed clinical trial-driven results. So once again, huge thanks to Augusta University, huge thanks to Neilmed and to Navaj and to Bernie Gray and to Paincare Labs, because they're giving me the opportunity to do some of my time and to get this thing done. So stay safe out there, y'all, and I'll keep you posted. It's going to be fun. I don't know that we're going to get the answers in time to bring football back, but believe me, if we can get those answers by October, I'm saying there's a chance. Like, subscribe, keep up to date with us. Bye-bye.